warm welcome to a Gallop TV selection show. Racing takes place at Turffontein, Standside Track, Saturday the 24th of December, Christmas Eve. And we're looking forward to some nice racing. We've got the Lobolo Sprint, which is a Grade 3, and we've got the Secretariat Stakes, a listed event. And I'm joined on the line by Alistair Cohen. Alistair, how are you doing? How's the Christmas vibes over in Dubai?
Yeah, Raheel, all good, thanks. And to all the viewers, wishing you all the very best leading up to Christmas. To all racegoers, I hope that you have a wonderful festive season. How are Christmas vibes in Dubai? They're actually very noticeable. Not many people would believe that, but a big effort is put on by the locals to put up Christmas decorations and put all sorts of Christmas specials up. And yeah, it's very noticeable. It's definitely not a white Christmas in these parts. It's very unlikely to even be a wet Christmas in these parts. But radio stations are playing Christmas music, so all very festive. And yeah, it doesn't feel like I'm poles apart from home when we get to this time of year.
That's good to hear. At least they are doing something over there in Dubai, and the Christmas vibes are going strong. Now, there's card at Turffontein on Saturday. What's your thoughts on it before we crack on with race number 1?
Yeah, mixed feelings. You mentioned the features at the start. They're probably the two most competitive races on the card. The Secretariat Stakes, once upon a time, was won by Louis the King until he subsequently won the South African Triple Crown. So it is a race that does set up perhaps currently under the radar 3-year-olds with horses that might step up and do good things in the future. It's a tricky race to read. Obviously, we're looking at horses at handicap terms, so to separate the wheat from the chaff is a little bit tricky. And the Lobolo Sprint's always a good race. Dare I say that there are probably a few horses either prepping for races in the future, or maybe one or two have already gone down to Cape Town with starts on the Cape Flying Championship. But all in all, I think I've gone for a few horses at a couple of prices in both those races. So I hope I'm on the right track.
Well, I look forward to hearing your thoughts on on those two races once we do get to it. But race number 1, it's an early start on Saturday at Turffontein, 11:35, 2,400 meters the distance, and the favorite horse number 2, Kwa, and he's a horse that he's been costly to follow in his last 2 starts, beaten beyond Celestial City, Ryan's Dream. I thought the Turffontein Standside Track could actually suit him last time out, but yeah, he just finished in 4th position, 2 lengths off them. Stepping up in trip, 2,400 meters, unknown territory for the first time, but the way he runs would suggest that the longer trip could actually be ideal for him.
You've taken the words out of my mouth there, Raheel. You know, on the penultimate start, take distance out of the discussion. On the penultimate start, I'd say number 2, Kwat, would ordinarily be very, very hard to beat. The last one was poor, but as you say, the running style suggests that this distance will be absolutely perfect for the son of Rafif. On the dam side, there's stamina galore, so I have no doubt that number 2, Kwat, will have no issue stepping up in distance. I do make him a tentative first selection. The penultimate start, the form line shows the horse that finished just in front of him. Top Sales come out and won. The horse who won, Celestial City, ran, I thought, a good second straight out the maidens and straight out of the debut. So the form is sound without being world-beating. And then the last start was just the form hasn't had a chance to work out, but also ran second at Spring Will Come. He was a long-time maiden. So, as I said, mixed opinions about the strength of form, but I'm going to take the punt that this distance is what he's looking for. The main danger, funny enough, I think is number 3, Greenback Currency. He was beaten by Kwat last time out, but nothing went right from a bad draw. And I think if Wesley Murray can just keep a lid on number 3, Greenback Currency, and ride him for a little bit of luck, well, hopefully with a bit of pace on. There's no evidence of much pace in this race. Maybe Streets Ahead will go, but I think she might also be ridden with a degree of restraint trying this trip for the first time. But if the pace is on and if Greenback Currency can relax just off them, even if he does go handy, number 3, Greenback Currency could be a nice swinger horse to throw in with number 2, Kwat. It's not an easy start. Obviously, a lot of horses trying this trip for the first time. A lot of question marks about that stamina. I think the most reliable is 2 from 3 in a swinger.
Yeah, absolutely. And number 3, Greenback Currency. We all know how good Wayo Marwin is with these stayers. So Greenback Currency, you could see a big performance from this individual trying the 2-4 for the first time. So 2 and 3 in race number 1. in what looks to be a bit of a tricky start to the day's proceedings over at Turffontein. Now we're going to move along to race number 2, which is the Pinnacle Stakes over the 1160 meter trip. And what a lineup has assembled for this race, Alistair. Some top quality individuals. Sweet Pepper, who was the highest rated 3-year-old a few months ago, before the likes of Cousin Casey, Charles Dickens actually got winning again. And yeah, Sweet Pepper, she's on a 115. Disappointing last start. I thought she'd run a much better race than she did in the Magnolia handicap on a Betway Summer Cup day. Do you think in this type of lineup she could perhaps bounce back to some of her better form? She is the second best weighted horse in the race, narrowly behind Maharani.
I must confess, Raheel, I was weighing up whether to supply a place accumulator or bipod as a suggested bet. The reason why I went with a place accumulator is because I do not like this race at all, but I don't like it for the right reasons. I agree with you. I thought Sweet Pepper would run better in the Magnolia last time, but she had valid excuses. She was slow into stride. She was balked at a crucial stage. And also Sean Terry's yard on Summer Cup Day, for one reason or another, was as flat as a pancake, but it's come alive since. So I'm willing to give number 1, Sweet Pepper, a vote of confidence. She is, after all, a Group 1 winner, the only Group 1 winner in the race. She sets the standard, and on best form, she'll be the one to beat. Number 2, Bon Vivant, I think is a well above average daughter of William Longsword. I still think 1400 meters is her best distance, but she's one to be respected. Number 3, Maharani, I think will need it. She's obviously a good filly by Flower Alley. I think the sprint is probably her main game, but this also screams of a prep run for the Swallow Stakes at Turffontein in a few weeks' time. So I'm sure Johan Janssen van Vuren will be preparing her for that. And then number 4, Alula Star, also deserves a mention because she was full value and showed a lot of courage in winning the Magnolia last time out. She caught me by surprise. Third run after a rest, so she'll be at her peak. Pila Sunday and Corley takes a ride for Stuart Pettigrew. They'll have a point to prove. I think pound for pound, Sweet Pepper, number 1, is the best horse in the race. I'm willing to forgive her for that last run. I'll tip her on top, but it is a race where just about anything can happen. Also mentioned for number 6, Moonshining Through. She was disappointing in the feature on Summer Cup Day last time out in the Gauteng Merchants, but she's also worth another chance because I know Johan Janssen van Vuren thinks a lot of her.
I'm glad that you touched on her, because I was actually going to ask you about her, because I mean she does seem the third choice from the Johan Janssen van Vuren yard, but over this trip I think she could be very, very effective, especially back against same-sex company. And last time out, possibly a tougher race. Maybe if she took a place in the Magnolia handicap, she would have probably had a better chance. I know I did fancy her on that occasion, but she wasn't disgraced. She ran a fair race, but I think back against same-sex company, she could be very, very competitive here, Moonshining Through.
Yeah, she moved up to a point and just didn't go on with it. You're probably right in the fact that the Gardenia would have been, or rather the Magnolia would have been a better option. But all in all, they took the chance on the Merchants to try and perhaps split up the opportunity of winning for the connections. The only other time she got beaten, absolute debacle at the starting stalls, when she gave away so much ground, when she just got, I think Keegan DeMille nearly came unshot at the start. She's a good filly, number 6, Moonshining Through. I think of all the Van Vuren horses in this race, she's probably best equipped over this distance, but also with fitness on her side over Maharani. That's going to be a vote of confidence. Be no surprise if she won, but I think for now, with a 2-kilo swing and with a Group 1 win under the belt, number 1, Sweet Pepper, will have the advantage over her.
Sweet Pepper, the one to watch out for. 28 to 10 in the market is the current price. Race number 2, it's an absolute belter of a race, and we're looking forward to seeing these horses in action. Now we're going to move along to race number 3, which is the start of the place accumulator. This is the Fillies and Mares 85 handicap over the 1160 meter trip. Favorite here, horse number 6, Lady of Power, at around 5 to 2 in the market. And she's an individual that does return of a lengthy layoff, 142 days since her last start, which was on the 4th of August, and she met Captain Peg, who was in flying form at that point in time. She's a one-time winner, taking on horses that have won a couple of races and 3-time winners as well. But Lady of Power, where do you sort of put her in your selections, Alistair?
Yeah, she's got to be respected. I've gone banker in the place accumulator, number 4, Aga Heath. I must confess, my initial place accumulator that I tipped, I had 4, 5, and 6, but I had to cut down because later on I've opened up a bit. So I'm
Winner
happy
without
to
a
bank
penalty.
number 4, Aga Heat. I think. Sorry, what's that?
Winner without a penalty, and she wasn't even. It wasn't even the best weighted horse in the race as well last time out.
100%. Winner without a penalty, A. I know that you look at that run and say, well, she thumped West Wing Bolter. West Wing Bolter's average. But in that race was Glittering Girl, a horse rated 114. She beat Glittering Girl by 8.5 lengths. I know that the horse who ran third, What You're Waiting For, was disappointing on Tuesday. But I love the way Aga Heat won at the Val at the start of the month. So I think there's every chance that she'll at least back it up and run a place. She's a half-sister to Group 1 winner, De Boer as well, who was also trained by Gavin van Zel and trained by the Drakenstein stud. And I love the way that she went about her business last time out, having her third run on the half-odds. I think they probably figured her out. And like I said, I don't think she's an absolute certainty by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm willing to say that she'll run into the first 3. 5 Silver Winter, also a fluent winner last time out. At the weights, number 7, Love Bart, should finish closer, but I like to believe that Silver Winter's on an upward curve, so I think Silver Winter will stay in front of number 7, Love Bart. And then number 6, Lady of Power, can't be the catalyst to getting her back to winning ways. I know Joey saying, I think Daughter of Oscar My Fate is a proper filly in the making. Last time was obviously disappointing. The fact that she's been off 142 days might suggest that something came out in the washing subsequently. I'm sure that Joe would offer that to the public before the race, or maybe even if she did win, explain the reasoning for a 142-day layoff. I think she's a good filly as well. But I just think everything points to number 4, Aga Heat, after that last run. As far as the place accumulator is concerned, I'm happy to bank her.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Number 4, Aga Heat, and she's a 3-time winner from 9 starts, and at 7-2 in the market, she could actually be worth a punt on the head in this type of lineup, especially with that last win under the belt where she absolutely stumped the opposition, winning by 5.5 lengths, and that's race number 3, horse number 4, Aga Heat. Now we're going to move along to race number 4, which is the start of the Pick 6, a Pinnacle Stakes over 1,800 meters. And it's another race that's got quite a few nice horses in it. Red Saxon is the favorite at 16-10 after his run in the Summer Cup, beaten 6 lengths behind Puerto Manzano. He's neatly drawn in gate number 3 this time around, as he was horribly drawn in his last 3 starts. In fact, 14, 9, 16. So he's got a much better draw. A slight drop in class. In terms of the best weighted column, he's the 3rd best weighted horse in the race. But I think that Red Saxon, he could actually bounce back to some of his better form in this lineup here.
Yeah, I'll make it a 2-horse race here, Raheel. Number 2, Red Saxon, and 7, Perfect Witness. I think the winner will come from one of those. My first choice is number 2, Red Saxon. I don't believe he gets 2,000 meters. He ran in the Summer Cup like he didn't get 2,000 meters. I wouldn't say he moved up to a point and looked dangerous, but I think the bad draw, the sticky going, a combination of all of the above may have just sort of stuck him away. And he's back to the same course and distance that he won the Group 1 South African Classic. So number 2, Red Saxon, I think this is his domain, 1,800 meters on the Turffontein stand-side track. I think he'll be the one to beat. Samango Kamalo taking the ride for Joby Soma. As you say, his rating has dropped a little bit, but he earned his highest rating by winning a race over this course and distance. His penultimate start on the Allard Steel Road on a Mission Mile was excellent. When he really stayed on strongly, he's got Bling on back on board, which has obviously got to be a big boost to his chances. The other horse that I've got to mention, number 7, Perfect Witness. The blinkers come off. That has been a bit of a debate back at HQ, but Muziani takes her ride with 50.5. She is comfortably the best weighted horse in the race. Her work is very, very, very good. It always is. So her last couple of runs have been disappointing. But she looks like she's in a good space. If she returns to her best of a lightweight, then she will be dangerous. I must confess, I don't think number 1, Aspects, is quite the same horse that he was 6 months ago. And I'm tired of number 3, Second Base. I love the horse. I've always followed him. I've always put him in my pick 6s and place accumulators wherever and whenever he runs, but I'm done with him. He's got Keegan DeMello on board. Obviously, good friend of mine owns him. Good friend of mine trains him, but Second Base might get into my pick 6. But
one more time, Alistair. One more time. He has to go in. I mean, he's
Did you like number 3, Second Base?
I think he's a massive runner. Plum draw. He's 4 points below his last winning mark. He loves the course and distance. I think he's got to go in. Last time out, when we did the Summer Cup preview show, we thought he was the lurker in the race. disappointing run, but I think he's a horse that has to be included into the mix, along with Red Saxon and Perfect Witness.
You know, on the run of the Jubilee handicap, Perfect Witness has got him ice cold. I can't see number 3 second base coming back to life here. I think he probably needs. I'll tell you what the right race for second base is. It's like Colorado King Stakes in about 3 months' time. But I'm sure Johan Janssen van Vuren knows that. He doesn't need me to tell him that.
Well, let's hope second base can bounce back to some of his better form and be competitive in race number 4. But Red Saxon, he could certainly be the one that they've all got to set their sights on in the opening leg of the Pick 6. Now we're going to move along to race 5, which is an MR89 handicap over 1,800 meters. And favourite in this lineup, horse number 2, Pragmatist, Kika de Mello, Johan Janssen van Vuren, 14-10, closely followed by Bonnet at 15-10. Now, do you make it a 2-horse race between these two in the market? I mean, you can get 8-1 and better bar those, but what's your thoughts on the lineup, Alistair?
My initial place accumulator numbers were 1, 2, and 5. I've ultimately gone 1 and 2 because I think one, if not both of them, will run into the first 3. Which one wins, I'm not too sure. Let me just touch on the horse that I eliminated from my place accumulator. I think 16-1, number 5, Vesuvio, is a very, very nice price. I think that he's looking for this distance. I'm willing to forgive him for his last 2 starts. I think he's alive with a chance from an inform yard out of a good draw. But I'm happier with the more safe options on the place accumulator. So that's my line of thinking there. But I actually make number 5, Vesuvio, the player. As far as the place accumulator is concerned, my first choice here is number 2, Pragmatist. Narrowly, the bookmakers agree with that. There's 10 cents between them on the bookmakers' books. Pragmatist is going through the divisions nicely. He stepped up and tripped last time with a facile victory over High Moon. His penultimate start to a promising horse in the form of Good Counsel was good. I don't think the race was run to suit either. I know Johan Janssen van Vuren thinks he's a scopy, progressive horse, and I know that he's got targets for the son of Jackson in time to come. Number 1, Bonnet. I know Mark de Kock also really rates the thoughts of Quarari, but now her reputation precedes her. But I'll take Mark de Kock's word for it that he thinks that this filly is going to also go through the divisions. Won't be easy giving weight away on this 3-year-old handicap, but if she is going to be anything, she ought to at least run well here. So I do make her a player, and also valid. Very notable excuses from the fillies mile last time. The saddle slipped, and she was still less than 5 lengths behind Emma Regina. Worth another chance or two. A horse that was 4 lengths behind her in the fillies mile came out and ran second on Tuesday in the form of Keshia Wazul. So the form, I think, will ultimately work out to be good. 1 and 2 for me in the place accumulator. Short and sweet, but definitely the springer in the pack, number 5, Vesuvio.
Number 5 at around 16-1 in the market. One to keep an eye on for Alistair. But place accumulator wise for me, I'm going to be happy to bank a number 2, Pragmatist. I think he could be a horse that looks to be well in this type of field. Now we're going to move along to race number 6, the Secretariat Stakes, 1,400 meters the distance. Get your bets on by 2:30 on the afternoon. This is a start of Jackpot 2. Favorite here, Tamarisk Tree at 33-10 in the market. Tamarisk Tree, that's horse number 7. Disappointing last start behind Good Counsel. I thought he was probably one of the better bets on the day, on Betway Summer Cup day. Disappointing 4th behind Good Counsel over 1,800 meters. He's dropping in trip to 1,400. He has won over the distance when he beat his stable companion Quantum Theory, but I still get the feel that 1,600, 1,800 and 2,000 will be best for this individual. But nonetheless, drop in trip, drawn in gate 4. What's your thoughts on him, Alistair?
He's in my place accumulator. I must set up my stall early. I have absolutely no feel for the Secretariat Stakes at all. As you say, Tamarisk Tree, I agree with you, stepping up in distance will ultimately be his top. I don't think he's the easiest to read. I think on a good day, Tamarisk Tree is right up there among, I wouldn't say the best 3-year-olds in Joburg, but not far away from the best 3-year-olds in Joburg. But as you can see, on a bad day, he's miles behind them. So hopefully he has a good dander, Muzi Yanni. Good yard, good jockey, good bunch of owners as well, Jan van Skalkwijk. So he's in my play. You know, when you read out the betting, I was a bit surprised that number 7, Tamarisk Tree is favourite, but on the same breath, I'm surprised that anything can be favourites on this race. That's how open it is. I've gone 3 horses in the place accumulator. My other 2, number 4, out of Viduccio. I still think there's something about the Son of Flower Alley. I'm willing to say that the Graham Beck Stakes came a little bit too soon after his penultimate start. They were only 5 days apart, but it was worth taking the chance because obviously things were really wet in Johannesburg at the time, and perhaps with the fitness edge, number 4 out of Aditya might have been able to take advantage of that. Ultimately, that wasn't the case. Also a good horse, also a horse that I think will step up in time to come. And then number 8, Forthcoming. Scraped in from stable companion Corvette Captain last time out. He did give the older stable companion half a kilo. With 54 kilos, number 8, Foster Novo is definitely a player. 1,400 meters might be a bit of an issue because his only start over this distance was his only bad run. But if you like Tamara's Tree, you got to like Foster Novo. They're in the same race, and Foster Novo finished just in front of Tamara's Tree. And then if you're going to use that form line as a guard, then obviously Raffles has also got to come into the playoff top weight, number 1 on the card. Bit of an awkward draw. I'm just hoping to survive this leg of the place accumulator. 4, 7, and 8, a race I have no feel for, the Secretariat Stakes.
Yeah, it's absolutely a minefield here. And if you include the likes of Raffles, Starcoin has to go in. I mean, I know Raffles is 2 kgs better off, but the way Starcoin won, he won quite a nice race, and he won full of running as well. So I think he's another horse that has to be included into the mix. And Alistair liked number 9, Acorn, last time out at some decent odds. He's at around 20 to 1 in the market. Is he a horse that you throw into the pick 6? Horse number 9, Acorn, at 20 to 1?
I think everything's got to go into the pick 6 here. Whatever you can afford must go in. If there's something you've been following for a while, stick it in, because you don't want to go out in this race. Because I think all in all, even if one of the fancied horses win, you'll still knock a good chunk of tickets out of the pick 6 and make a lot of ground on everyone else.
Well, race number 6, the Secretariat Stakes, a competitive event, but some nice horses on show there. Race number 7, the Lobolo Sprint. Grade 3, 1,000 meters the distance. 3:05 is the time you need to get those bets on by. Favorite here is Takenaut at 28 to 10 in the market. Roy Magna Muzieni teaming up here. And I thought this horse was so gutsy last time out when getting the better of Karanga Tango. Bounced back to some of his better form. He's gone up to 6 points for that victory. He looks to be an improving horse, and he goes over the 1,000 meters once again. Would you say he's a worthy favorite at 28 to 10?
I would definitely say he's a worthy favourite. I had Takenauts in my place accumulates, but as I said, I had to cut. And Takenauts is one of the horses that I cut. I've ended up with 3 and 6. Winter Stories and Miss Daisy. My line of thinking here is in that last run Pinnacle Stakes on the 10th of December. Winter Stories finished in front of Vaseem, Gallic, Chief Constable and Godswood. That's nearly half of the field. I'm also satisfied to say that Winter Stories would have probably needed that run coming back from a nearly 6-month layoff and showing no ill effects. I think Winter Stories' best form on offer puts him into the play. Brown and Yowell gets a tune out of him. He's ridden him twice for 2 places. And Winter Stories ran in the Lobolo Sprint last year and finished 4th. His ratings dropped by a pound, but the average rating of this Lobolo Sprint is a 106. The average rating of last year's Lobolo Sprint is a 110. So I'd say, well, it's obvious that it's a slightly weaker renewal of the Lobolo Sprint. And then number 6, Miss Daisy. I looked past her first time, but then on closer inspection, I had a look at the best 1,000-meter time on offer, and number 6, Miss Daisy, has got the quickest 1,000-meter time on offer. Although that was as a 2-year-old, that came at the Vol on the 31st of March, when winning in 57.91. That's the quickest 1,000-meter time for any horse in this race. So number 6, Miss Daisy, has to be respected. And then number 7, Taikenaut, one of our favourites, also in the play, gutsy win. I still think that when he goes 1,200 meters, you'll see the best of him. Maybe even 1,400 meters, you'll see the best of him. But there's no reason to ignore him and place accumulate in pick 6s and jackpots. And then number 2, Vaz Vicky, a fluent winner of the Merchants last time out on what was perceived to be the wrong side of the track. You've got to take that on board. It'll be hard for him to give weight around again, because the handicapper gave him a bit of a £5 penalty for that last run, but he might well be up to it. Place accumulator, happy with 3 and 6, but a few in here who can win it. Yeah, absolutely. Another competitive event, and I'm going to throw in number 5, Vaseem, once again. I think he's got a good chance in this lineup as well, and he's been priced up at around 5 to 1. But Alistair with number 3, Winter Stories, ahead of the 6, Miss Daisy, and Taikenaut, another runner that he gives a mention to in race number 7. In what looks to be a competitive Lobolo Sprint over the 1,000-meter trip. Now, the penultimate race on the program is a middle stakes, 1,000 meters the distance, 15:40 is the time you need to get your bets on for race number 8. And yeah, it's another race filled with
Nice horses, and it's got that competitive look, tricky race about it. Flower Bomb, favorite 28-10, Sheldon 7-2, 11-2 about Moringo, and then you can get 7-1 and better about those. What's your thoughts on this race, Alistair? Because, this looks to be one of those races where you need to go really wide along with the two prior races.
I've got 1 and 8 in my place accumulator, and I think the winner will come from one of those. Number 8, Flower Bomb, is the favourite here, Hill, as you mentioned. Marco van Rensburg takes her out for Cornet Spies. She comes in fairly well weighted, in fact, third best weighted, with 1, 2, and 4 to Flower Bomb. Coming back to 1,000 metres could be the catalyst. Last time she tried 1,200, she wasn't disgraced by any stretch of the imagination by Chayavana. There was money for her. Her run on the Gardenia handicap, I think, stands her in good stead. This is a slight drop in class. She's only got an extra 2 kilos to carry. I think Cornet Spies found the right race for number 8, Flower Bomb, to come back to winning ways. Her win over Kiss Me Captain on the 27th of October was really encouraging. Kiss Me Captain's a good filly from the Ashley stable and also runs to a peaker. I think the form speaks for itself. Number 8, Flower Bomb, is reliable. She'll give you a good run for your money, and she is the horse to beat. I've backed her up in number 1, Mercantile. Stuart Pettigrew has given him every opportunity now to get into the winners enclosure. Sianda Sasibo's 4 kilos off the back, joint best weighted before the 4 kilo allowance, and also dropping back to the sprint. And plus the rating that he ran to in the Joburg Spring Challenge is a good deal higher than the 104 that he's currently racing. He ran in the mid 110s, I think, in the Joburg Spring Challenge, but obviously restrictions and conditions of the race. He escaped a penalty. I don't think 1,400 metres is his best distance, and last time was obviously really, really disappointing. That was on the Vaal Classic track from a dicey draw. That's not Pettigrew's style, but obviously he felt the need to get number 1 at Mercantile back up and running. I think Mercantile will be shorter than 7-1 come race time. I'll make him a player dropping to this distance, and with the assistance that he's getting from the trainer, from the apprentice, and also dropping to this type of level.
Yeah, throw in number 5, Moringo, into the mix as well. 11-2 in the market. Last time out, maybe that second run after rest syndrome possibly caught him out behind Sheldon. He's better off at the weights as well. He's gone up 2 kgs, where Sheldon's gone up to 5. So he's 3 kgs better off for a length beating. And I think Moringo could get into the mix. So I think maybe throw that one into the equation as well. But for Alistair, number 1, Mercantile.
Just before you go on, sorry, Rahil.
Yeah.
Just before you go on, just a quick mention about Candice Dawson's run, number 7 set to go. I see he's 10-1. In my heart of hearts, I don't think he'll win, but his prep going into that last run was all wrong. He drifted as a consequence. His prep going into this race is much, much better. Expect him to run better this time around. I think he'll be in the first 4. But like I said, I think 1 and 8 will have the measure of him when getting into the number 1 box.
Spot on. Thanks for that, Alistair. Number 7 set to go. His prep has been a lot better heading into this lineup, and one to include into the mix as well. Now, race number 9, the final race on the program, 1,160 meters the distance. It's a fillies and mares 72 handicap, set to be run up the straight at Turffontein. Average rating of a 68, favourite second breath at 7-2, in the beginning 4-1, Little Miss Moneybags at 6-1, along with There She Goes, and then Scottadito 14-1 in the market. I thought she ran an absolute cracker last time out behind Winter Greeting. She was up there in the vanguard for most of the race, and Winter Greeting won quite comfortably, but Scottadito 14-1, certainly a horse that I think could be worth a shout into the pick 6. But race 9, what's your numbers here for the PA, Alistair?
Quick mention on Scottadito. We recommended to all viewers, take your 100 Rand each way on Scottadito last time, paid nearly 8 Rand a place. So there was a feather in our caps, and I'll recommend the same again. You know, can you go broke on number 12 Scottadito? Absolutely not. You could get beaten at 50 lengths. That's just the nature of the beast. But I think in the long run, if you have your each way on number 12 Scottadito, she'll put you into the green. Not in my place accumulator though, but she would go into my pick 6. If I'm right, Joey Soma will have a great day with the likes of Red Saxon and also a few others. Although I haven't got Lady of Power as my first choice, I think she can win. Number 1 in the beginning here was a fluent winner over Mighty Goddess last time out. She's only going to get better and stronger with that run under the belt. Tough ask with a heavy weight, that we've seen a few from Soma's yard come out with similar conditions and prove that they're above the handicapper. Out of that run, Mighty Goddess ran 2nd subsequently. Horse ran 5th. Let's Cruise has won. Horse ran 7th. Sea Anemone has come out and won. Down the page, Time for Charity ran 3rd. Bushveld has run 2nd. So the form is solid. So I think number 1 in the beginning is above average. 2 Second Breath, good win last time over Pinch has held his form. Got to be respected. And the lurker in the pack for me, undoubtedly, number 9, Quasi's Lady. I like her with blinkers on for the first time, and I also like her dropping back to the sprint. I think she is definitely the springer in the pack. What price is she? She's 16-1. I think she'd be a little bit shorter than that come race time. All in all, 3 horses in the place accumulator, and I think I'll at least double up with 1, 2, and 9.
Yeah, spot on there with number 9, Risky Business. Blinkers could certainly sharpen up, and she's dropped quite a bit in the rating. So 16-1, she could be a horse that is worth an each way play. And just one more horse, number 13, Risky Business. She's a horse that I think you can include into the mix as well. Fair run last time out behind. There she goes, and she could be doing her best work late on in the day of this 1160 meter trip. And we're going to move along to Alistair's suggested bet now. And Alistair, you've got a place accumulator up for the guys, so take us through your PA for racing at Turffontein on Saturday.
Yeah, as Raheel said at the top of the show, early start, so get your place accumulators on by 1:45. I've took a fairly expensive place accumulator, but I think I'll double and treble up as the meeting goes on. I open up with a banker number 4, Aga Heat. By 2 and 7, Red Saxon and Perfect Witness. I think I'll double up there. By 1 and 2, Bonnet and Pragmatist. I think I'll double up there. By 4, 7 and 8 in the Secretariat stakes. So those are out of Adicho, Samaras Tree and Fostanova. I'm hoping just to survive that leg. By 3 and 6, Winter Stories and Miss Daisy. Again, more survival than optimism. By 1 and 8, Mercantor and Flower Bomb. I think I'll double up. And then final leg, 1, 9 and 10. Hoping to at least double up in the final leg of the place accumulator.
Yeah, slightly bullish on that place accumulator, and yeah, certainly absolutely worth a go. The place accumulator on Saturday at Turffontein. Alistair, thank you as always for joining us, and thank you for your insight into the 9 races on the program over at Turffontein. All the best. Enjoy the call tonight over at Maidan, and I wish you and the family happy Christmas, and hopefully it's a good one. Stay safe, and hopefully heading into the new year we touch base once again.
Yep, thanks so much for that, Raheel, and to you, your family, to the entire team, and to all viewers, wish you a very Merry Christmas. May it be a prosperous New Year, and may all your dreams come true, and may you wake up on Christmas Day fulfilled and happy, and looking forward to a day celebrating for all the right reasons. Thanks so much, Raheel.
Spot on. Thanks to Alistair Cohen for joining us on the line for this Gallop TV selection show, and to all the viewers, all the best heading into Christmas and the New Year. Hopefully it's a good one for you, and stay safe. All the best, guys. Hopefully you find all the winners at Turffontein on Saturday.